And we are back. Welcome to the Convex Lobsters podcast. My name is Monica,
And my name is Cruz.
and today we're talking back to Jordan B. Peterson's book, Beyond Order. This time, the second rule: imagine who you could be and then aim single mindedly at that. And to start this conversation, I would like to make you a question, Cruz. Who can you be?
So I could be a lot of things, and that's a real problem because in the all these possibilities, you have to choose a few of them to pursue in your life and be kind of successful in your choices. But that's a thing in the end of the chapter. Well, when Peterson will exemplify better the what you have to do to think about it to plan your life accordingly for you
True,
to have a success.
true.
But before that, he goes in the chapter talking about mythology and symbolism, and the photo of the illustration in the beginning of the chapter. This illustration have a lot of symbology, and but it's difficult to explain here. You have to read to because there's a lot of technical explanations on alchemy and other things to explain this image. And but he enters in other things like the Egyptian myth.
Yes, I think one interesting you said, and it's very careful. You can be a lot of things, and probably that's a difficult choice to make because how can you know that something you pick up to become is the right thing, you know? And in the beginning of the chapter, Peterson works with it. It's not you that choose what interests you, you know, what interests you chooses you. And that's very, very interesting to see because, well, let me pick up my own explanation with my profession. I didn't know I would like that. I had no idea. I just started working with, and the second or third day I was in the company I worked for, I started to get very, very, very satisfied. You know?
Yeah, and the opposite is true. If you try to go through a thing that doesn't interest you, it's very hard. There's a very little chance that you will be have success with it.
Yes.
Like programming is one of the professions that pay very well, and it's growing a lot, but you have to be good with math, logic, and things like that, and not everyone is willing to
Yeah.
do this for like
I, I
a lot of
think
hours.
actually the skill you need to make something. Sometimes you might have the skill, like you can be good at math, you can be good at other kind of areas where you could work. But if it doesn't give you pleasure to be with, probably you will not grow enough. You
Yeah,
know, because
there.
because I see like. Um, Probably you can be well paid, probably you can do it right, but you'll be so bored and full of anxious, and you won't be able to enjoy your personal life the way you would like.
Yeah, there's a book called Ikigai. Ikigai is a word in Japanese, and this book is kind of an investigation on a city that has the people with a lot of concentration of people with more than 100 years. And then it the word means the things that they do, and to have this like long life, and maybe and to synthesize is basically is putting together the things that you like the with your work.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of choices in your life, in all of the your possibilities in your personal life, in your relationships, in your work, that they are like all all kind of together, not interfering with one uh, with one destroying others, you know.
Yeah. I think it's all about balance, you know, because of
Yeah,
course everything you're going to do, even if you like it, there is some kind of boring things you have to deal with, like bureaucratic stuffs. Let's pick up like a lawyer. You know, a lawyer has a lot of tasks he daily work with, like creating theses and making other kind of uh, related to judgments and stuffs. But he has a lot of bureaucratic work as well, and probably this is a pain in the ass. Anyway, he can deal with it because he likes the good stuff, the good part of his job. So he can deal with those kind of boring stuff, and even he can hire people to do those things to him. You know?
yeah, yeah. And it's sometimes you have to do what you don't want to do for some time, and then you will be in a place that you can choose what you want to do. It's all, but you have to plan it for you to get where you want.
Yeah, and I think that's the good starting for Peterson in the book, because he talks to us about past, present, and future, and knowledge. And one of the most interesting thing he talks in the book, in this rule, is that everything we know, we just do not know that we already knew. So something like everything was born in you as an infant. He actually picks up this idea from Socrates. And this is interesting because, of course, we can be foolish and say that we know everything already. Now, yeah, you just all the time you're learning, but a lot of things you learn in your present is you have this feeling that, oh, I think I already knew that, and I could do that already.
In this thing of knowledge, you will discover sometimes that you have four distinctions of this: the things that you know, the things that you don't know that you know, the things that you know that you don't know, and the things that you don't know that you don't know. Like it seems complicated, but if you stop and think about these four phrases for some time, you will know how knowing this will help you sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's important because when you're going to plan your future or aim what you want to become, you have to make a whole life research, yes, about your experiences and about your nowadays skills. So you can really make a plan.
Yeah, and we'll we'll we will get to the point that life is a journey. So you are in a journey, and then you have the importance of the myth, because they are knowledge to help us understand the world in a manner that can be very helpful in some sense
Yes,
about some things. And yeah.
and this the stories that we all our life have been learning and listening to, they all somehow expresses our lifetime, you know. So of course it probably is some kind of that, not literally, but you can extract from those stories how can you manage your life, how can you manage your life.
Yeah, and in this chapter he talks about the Egyptian myth and about Harry Potter, and I found
Actually, it's
very.
the Mesopotamian myth, yes.
Oh yeah, that's
The
right.
Mesopotamian, and it's important that he works lots with this myth in his first book, Maps of Meaning, and it's very interesting. And I think probably explaining the Harry Potter one is more easy to understand because it's a more contemporary uh, contemporary uh,
Story.
story, yeah, book that normally, even if you didn't watch the movie or read the book, you probably know what Harry Potter actually is.
Yeah, and there are some parallels that he made with the Christian religion and the Harry Potter symbols there. Like Voldemort is the devil, and the basilisk, that's a big snake in the second movie, is the snake represented in the Genesis story. And there's the phoenix that can reborn,
Yeah,
like Jesus Christ that died and reborn in the third day. And that's a very important symbolic thing, because your personality, your where you want to go, you have to maybe die and then regenerate. And the difficult part is, are you ready to die? It's a
yeah,
it's
that's a
a the
good
question that you
point.
have to make yourself if you want to make some real changes in your life.
And actually, I think it's not only dying, but killing some part of yourself. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
because you know some challenges are not so easy to deal with, and sometimes you have to sacrifice something you had so you can prevail.
Another parallel that he do with the Harry Potter is that Harry and his friends, they were very disciplined and courageous, but also willing and ready to break the rules when necessary. That was the theme of the first chapter. So I think that was nice thing. And at the end of the chapter, he gets to the point that he explained more clearly the things that you have to do to plan your life or plan some life changing. And we told some of them, like getting your past straight, your present and your future, to map your path
Yeah,
and then know where you're going and aim it and going accordingly.
that's a good thing to introduce the Enuma Elish, which is the Mesopotamian myth. Uh, because in this story, actually, Peterson explained us how the god, let's tell this way, becomes a meta god. What what does a meta god is? It's like the god of the gods, you know. So he works with the polytheism becoming monotheism, because in the Enuma Elish we have two gods in the beginning, yes, which is Tiamat and Apsu. Tiamat is a female god, yes, a goddess, and Apsu is the man, is the male god. So of course he makes those kind of distinctions because we are working with the images of chaos and order, and normally the female is reported as chaos, and the male is reported as the tyrannic order. Yes, and actually Tiamat controls the whole hierarchy of gods, and she puts her tyranny to work with and try to destroy everything else. She she creates an army to destroy everything else, even a supreme monster to do this, which she compare with the basilisk. Yes, in the it's basilisk. I really don't know Harry Potter, man.
Yeah, it's Basilisk, the big
Yeah,
snake.
all right, the big snake. Yeah, and she compares this the supreme monster to the basilisk, and there is a grandson of Tiamat and Apsu named Marduk. Marduk is one of the descendants that actually is capable of destroying Tiamat and her army, and he was for all the other gods. So his grandfather Apsu, which were in war with Tiamat, and the other members of the family, like the other gods. Everyone considered Marduk as capable to destroy the Tiamat and her army. But when they put him up to do this task, he requires to become the 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 main god of all this whole structure, yes, all this hierarchy. And of course they accept, yes. And that's the point where we look at what can we do to become capable of becoming what we want to become, because look how they how they illustrate Marduk. He is the multiple head circling eyes of Marduk. So one of the most important attributes of Marduk is his eyes. And what does it mean? The most important thing to you become what you want to become is you have to observe things. You have to look at things. You have to understand the thing. And that's how Marduk is capable of seeing the whole god hierarchy, and he is capable to destroy the army, the Tiamat's army, and Tiamat herself.
Right. The Horus eye is I just remember it. Peterson explained it, but I can't remember right now. That I found very interesting. But he doesn't say in this chapter.
Horus is like in yeah, his son goes to hell to save his eye, isn't it?
Yeah, I think yes.
And he uses his eye to so he can face his evil brother.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a maybe that's a sign for like pay attention all the time.
Yes, it's the importance of being very, very careful and observe everything that surrounds you.
Right. So, and getting back to the end of the chapter where he says how to act and plan your life, the changings of your life, the past, present, future, to map your path. What do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, actually, I think one of the most important stuffs that how we interpret the hero, the Marduk, in ourselves. So you have to be represented as the principle of action and perception that must rule over all the primordial psychological elements like rage, lust, hunger, thirst, terror, and everything else, and even joy. Yes, you can't be so joyful all the time. You have to be diligent as well. So I think that's important to say because sometimes we forget that becoming something is a huge responsibility.
Yeah, and he talks about the you said about the joy. Maybe when you just are in the pursuit of pleasure, you turn yourself into a slave of the pleasure. So you have
Yeah,
to watch out for that as well.
absolutely, absolutely, and it's important to be focused because I think the main object of this rule is being focused so you can become something.
Yeah, that's why
If
he
you
talks about the aim and go and
and go
to
right,
know the place where you want to go.
yeah. What's the point to understand your past, know where you are at at the present, and uh, projecting the future? Is to make a plan and to be loyal to this plan. And being loyal to this plan is being focused. So if you're not focused, probably, of course, you can manage to success, but it's not so guaranteed.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to understand that you are someone with lots of possibilities, but at the same time, you are someone who can adjust the clock of your microwave. So you have a lot of fails.
yeah, that's right. And a lot of good and bad things can happen to your life without you controlling it. But the best bet besides that is to make everything you can to be in a position to things go right.
Yeah, absolutely,
And
absolutely.
sometime maybe we will further read the books of Nassim Taleb that speaks about that. He has a book called Fooled by Randomness that talks about these things that happens in our life because of random stuff.
Yeah, you have to use those random stuffs in your favor. And of
Mm.
course, sometimes no. I mean, all the time, you won't be able to control everything around you. But if you can move to a place where those random factors are good for you, so you are using those random stuffs in favor of you.
So, hope you enjoyed the today episode. Please subscribe, follow, and see you next on the next episodes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. Be yourself a lobster and a Marduk. Why not? Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye bye.